Have you seen Simon Says Stamp's July Kit of the Month, You Shine? It is jam-packed with pattern paper, embellishments, and even a bottle of Tim Holtz's Foundry wax. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video we're gonna unbox that July kit and use it to make some cards. Actually, we're gonna use it to make 10 cards. That's right. This kit is just so full of goodies that you can make a ton of cards simply and easily. So let's get right into the unboxing. Simon Says Stamp kits come packaged in perfectly sized boxes that keep everything safe. I've never had bent paper or damaged products arrive from them. I love the little sheet that gives inspiration. There are some really beautiful cards on there. You get 3 pieces of cardstock, a bright yellow, a white, and a matte gold. And then the 6x8 pattern paper is from Simple Stories. It's called Vintage Lemon Twist. It's double-sided, so there are lots of choices. There's some basic patterns, some really vintage looking patterns, and then also some 3x4 cards that you could cut apart. The You Shine stamp set is a 6x8 stamp set, lots of images and sentiments. There's also a Simon Says Stamp emboss and cut folder, so that white piece in the center with the silver around it, that cuts out, and then the other parts emboss. There's also Tim Holtz Idea-ology baseboards windows, which are all these different vintage looking windows. They go really well with the pattern paper in this kit. And there's the Tim Holtz Distress Foundry wax, as well as a brush to apply it if you so choose. Now that you've seen the kit supplies, let's make some cards. All right, about 9 out of the 10 cards that I make today are based on the baseboards, those window frames from Tim Holtz Idea-ology. And so basically what I like to do is to put some adhesive behind them. I'm just using a tape runner, and then place them down on one of the pattern papers and cut around the edge. It's a really great way to combine a couple of the products that are in the kit. And then I'm going to add to this window a flower box. This is a stamp from the stamp set, and I'm also going to stamp You Shine from the stamp set as well, right on the pattern paper, and that is inside that baseboard window that I already adhered down and cut out. Now I'm going to do some very basic alcohol marker coloring. I am using my Artix markers. I did share a pastel set from them recently, so I will link to that video down in the YouTube description box below the video, but I really love those Artix markers for doing some basic coloring. You can see I'm doing a darker color on the edge and then lighter colors on the middle, and then I'm going to fussy cut this out. Although Simon Says Stamp does have dies to match this stamp set, so I will be sure to put those down in the YouTube description box below the video. I didn't have time to pick them up before this video, but I would definitely love to have them. Now I'm just going to place some tape runner on the back of the pattern paper that's behind the baseboard and apply that down to another piece of pattern paper from the kit, and then just adhere the little flower box at the bottom of the window. Super simple, but basing your cards on these baseboards and pattern paper, these cards come together really quickly, but they're also very detailed and interesting. So I'm going to choose another window, another baseboard. I'm going to put tape runner behind it just as before and lay it down on some pattern paper, a different color this time. I love the teals and the yellows in this vintage lemon twist from Simple Stories. It's a great color combination. And I did stamp on the yellow cardstock Hello from the stamp set, and now I am coloring in one of the butterflies from the stamp set, again using those Artix markers. I've mentioned before one of the reasons I love the Artix markers is because the brush end is a little more stable than my Copic brush ends are, and it makes it easier to get into tiny places. So I'm just going to fussy cut. Again, if I had the dies, I would definitely use them. And I will probably pick up the dies soon. I just didn't have time to get it here before I wanted to share this video so that you could grab the kit if you love it as much as I do. Again, an image, a sentiment, a window, and some pattern paper, and these cards are just coming together so quickly. They are really easy to design because everything in the Simon Says Stamp kit goes really well together. And that's kind of the beauty of buying a kit if you've been kind of on the fence trying to decide if you want to try a kit. The Simon Says Stamp kit is a really good one to try because you don't have to have it every single month if you don't want to. If you want it every single month, then you can absolutely pay the invoice and get it every single month. But there are some months where I either can't afford it or it has product that I already own, things like that. So this is a really great kit to try if you're interested in trying something where the stamps, the pattern paper, the embellishments, everything kind of go really well together. Okay, for the Foundry wax, you want to shake that up really well until you hear the little ball inside clicking around. And then I just took some, put it on my glass mat, picked some up with the brush that was included in the kit and started painting it in the corners of these window panes. I thought it kind of would look like dust, but it would be a golden dust, like a vintage golden dust, and just kind of a fun effect. But you can actually put this right on the baseboards as well. So I decided to add little bits here and there where there's kind of distressing or a distressed look on that baseboard, just for fun effect, and just to try them out to see how they really stayed on the baseboards and on the pattern paper as well. So I'm just going to put a little tape runner right on the top of the baseboard and lay my large lemon on top of that. And then I have a sentiment that says, "You make life sweet." Cut that down to kind of like a rectangle and then laid that on top of the baseboard again as well. So basically all of these cards, I'm just designing them around those windows because they make such a nice focal point for your cards. And then everything else kind of just accents it so well because, like I mentioned, the kit just really coordinates so well together. Okay, this is from the Simon Says Stamp Emboss and Cut. So you can see it cuts out that center part and then it embosses around there. So I'm putting a little bit of the Foundry wax on my finger and just rubbing it on the embossed part of this little piece of pattern paper that I cut and embossed. Now, I got maybe a little too much up at the top just on a flat area, but if you just put it on the embossing, you can see that it really just shows up that embossing so well. And the gold is just vintage looking and really beautiful. It's not my totally everyday look, but for fun and to really, like I said, pull some cards together really quickly and easily to add to your stash and be able to send out to friends and family. It's a really nice look. Okay, this time I'm going to put the baseboards on top of that embossing cut, and then I'm going to put both of those on top of a piece of pattern paper. Love this yellow plaid. It's so pretty. Kind of wanted to hoard it, but also I wanted to use up all the baseboards and the pattern paper, just like I shared in the video where I talk about different ways to use up pattern paper and things like cardstock in a card kit, and I'll link to that video up here as well. So I always want to use up the supplies that aren't things like stamps and dies that can be used over and over again. But I want to use up the other things so that I don't have to put them away, right? This way you don't have to clean as much. You do put the stamp set away and you do put the dies away, things like that. But the pattern paper and the cardstock, if you use them up and make a bunch of cards, then you don't have to do as much cleaning. Okay, for this card, I did not base it on a window. I wanted to use the stamp set, that larger sentiment that talks about, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, and some pattern paper. So I'm just using the white cardstock to stamp the sentiment and the image, a little piece of teal that I had left over, a scrap, and then I put that all on a piece of pattern paper that was an A2, and then just going to do some very basic, this time I am using Copic markers to color in this cross section of the lemon with those little leaves. Just a very simple card, but so much fun. Okay, for this one, these little windows are round, and I thought that they would look cute together on a card. So there's two of them in the set, or at least I got two of them. And so I put the sentiment in the center of a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of white cardstock stamped in black. And now I'm going to back each of these circle window baseboards with different colors of pattern paper. They kind of almost look like portals on a ship, don't they? But I really like the look of circles. I've talked about that before on a card. They're just a great design element. Because the card is square or rectangular, a circle image on the card really gives some contrast there. So I like just designing with circles as well. Okay, for this one, we're back to our baseboards. So I'm going to do the same thing, put some tape runner behind that baseboard and place it down on pattern paper and cut it out. And this time I did put a thin piece of pattern paper down on the white cardstock, and then I'm going to put that baseboard on top. And again, I want to use up, or I want to try all of the different images and sentiments from the stamp set. So you get to see a bunch of them. So, and you'll see them actually stamped out and the size that they are. So sometimes when you're looking at a picture on a website, it's hard to tell. These images are a nice size, which makes them easier to fussy cut if you really don't want to get the dies. Like I said, I think I probably will get the dies, but if you don't want to, you can pretty easily cut them out and they fill those windows. So it's just a really fun look. Okay, once again, this time I am using a baseboard that I cut the frames, the centerpiece out of, so that I could lay it on top of one of these 3x4 cards. It doesn't fit exactly, it's a little bit small, but I was able to place it so that you could see the entire sentiment at the bottom that says "You Shine." I love all of this, just kind of encouraging, supporting sentiments in this kit and also in the pattern paper. So I'm going to layer a couple of pieces of pattern paper over that yellow cardstock this time, and then layer that window without the panes on it so that you can see the entire 3x4 card with the sentiment that says "You Shine." And again, look, everything just goes perfectly. The yellows, the blacks, the teals, everything just coordinates so well. And that's why these cards come together so quickly, because I don't have to think too much about it. I'm just kind of picking like, oh, I haven't used this pattern yet, or I really like this color with this, so everything really goes so well together. Okay, this one I am going to use a couple of the images stamped and heat embossed on the black pattern papers, and I'm using some gold heat embossing because I felt like that would go really well with the foundry wax if I chose to use that here. So just again, coordinating everything together. Even if you do pick a few things outside your kit, you can easily pick them by matching them with things that are inside the kit. So, maybe you could grab a piece of black cardstock for matting one time, or, a piece of teal cardstock or gold embossing powder to go with your foundry wax, that kind of thing. So I am just going to fussy cut this guy out. I think this one's kind of a moth. I'm not sure, but that would be my guess. It looks kind of more like a moth than a butterfly, and I just thought it was kind of a cool look with the just a little hint of the teal, but mostly the yellow and the black and the gold. So again, these cards are just coming together in a matter of minutes, literally. Here again, I'm going to use one of the window baseboards on top of a scrap piece of pattern paper. So I'd already used this pattern paper, cut it down. I had a little piece left. It was perfect to just put this window pane down on top. And that's one of definitely the tips if you're trying to use stuff up rather than having to put it away or clean it up, to look at those scraps. Don't just toss them, keep them on your desk until you're fully done with as much as you can use up, and then you can decide if it's too small to save or not. But I really love this kit. I feel like the details are so unique and pretty. If you're not yet subscribed to Simon Says Stamps Card Kits of the Month, I'm going to share a video over here of why I decided to subscribe. If you like seeing kit reviews like this, or card making tips, tricks, techniques, and other new product reviews, please like this video so that I know, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell so you can be notified every single time I have a new video available. As always, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. It's fine. It's fine. Have you seen... Settle down. Have you seen Simon... Okay. Other than the birds cooing, I think we're good on this one.